game. Anyways, welcome back to the Dreamhack caster. Sorry about that hiccup for downtime. Winner of this series goes on to fight against Bunny. That's what we were waiting on. We get to see who gets to fight him now. In the top left side, while we did miss game number 1, we are joining game 2. He's up 1-0 in this series. It's going to be the blue Protoss player, ShoWTimE.
In the bottom left, as the red Zerg, it's Miniraser.
So ShoWTimE is actually a very interesting character in this. Once again, just really stressing, we saw him lose a lot to Zerg in the Dreamhack Winter, the Dreamhack Open, Rocket, whatever that was, 2015.
Super descriptive.
Yeah, the most recent Dreamhack. And he did not look good versus Zerg. He was losing a lot, and he did well in his overall, but like just the games we cast of him, he wasn't looking too hot versus the matchup. Nowadays, I think a lot of Protoss have figured this out, and the game has heavily shifted, so it's not as bad as it was, again, a month ago, as crazy as that sounds. But the other big thing for ShoWTimE was, when they announced the WCS changes, Zombie Grub and I were specifically concerned about players like ShoWTimE, who didn't at the time have a team with this new system screw them, where they have the support they needed to flourish, because it would be so disappointing if the new WCS system, like, totally screwed over people like ShoWTimE, amazing players who didn't have a team at the time. He now has a team, and we've since learned that they are helping players with travel accommodations and things to these events. So it's not a big deal, but there was some definitely alarming concern for specifically ShoWTimE.
Yeah. Now, ShoWTimE gets away with the Nexus first, which, I don't know, on Arena, it's a little bold, I suppose, but...
I mean, yeah, with this pathway being what it is.
Yeah, the timings, of course, Legacy of the Void are still very, There's a lot of options, I suppose, and what is absolutely best and quite figured out, like, is a 12 pool still effective, or do you really want to wait for a 14 pool? Versus, like, are there any alternatives to what used to be a 13-13? I do believe there is, and we actually saw in our own online tournaments a couple of games. Well, actually, the Archon Bow tournament was actually the one that Sulky and True, like, cheesed out the Protoss. And, you know, there's always the argument that, well, cheese can be more difficult because you have more probes. There's also the argument that, well, your timing's a little bit faster, so what are you going to do? Either way, Nexus first is, it looks like it's a little unsafe anyways, but whether it actually is, ShoWTimE's really confident in the build. I don't know, but he got away with it, and now it's going on to his tech choice, which is actually going to be a Stargate. But hey, Miniraser, taking a lot of links.
So the links could be problematic. It really depends on how ShoWTimE handles the overcharges. Does he buy enough time? Do they swing by? All that stuff. But the Stargate is not so surprising because, again, going back to what ShoWTimE did in Dreamhack Winter, he was doing a lot of Stargate builds in anticipation of those Muta swaps, in fear of those Corruptors. He had Stargates on the mind, for sure.
So I think that they ran away from the Adept in time from not to see how many there were, but I do believe an Adept got into the main base, I think, what it was.
That being said, if Photon Overcharge here, the Oracle coming out, as long as he doesn't let them in the main, this won't be so bad, I feel. I mean, the Overcharge is kind of ridiculous, the damage it has.
I mean, ShoWTimE was already set up for a defense that he was probably expecting later until he scouted that lack of a third base.
He burned too many overcharges. This new pylon is like one of the most important ones.
Well, here comes the whatever units he has. There's still a lot of probes too, and they can help out in the attack, but obviously that's not the ideal situation. Zealot gets actually surrounded. That was a mistake.
Yeah, but the Oracle's about to pop, so this should solidify the defense for now. Oracle will just deal so much damage to these links so quickly.
It's starting to kill maybe a couple of probes. Nope, not even. This is obviously a huge cut for Miniraser. Only at 22 drones, no third base. He would really, ideally, have just completely killed the second base, the natural. But instead, didn't touch the Nexus, didn't touch the tech, and barely touched the probes.
Yeah, that pylon going up, it was great if you had like an Adept or something holding in position so the links can run through it. But getting a little bit messy.
Maybe?
I mean, the Oracle's got energy to shoot again. New Oracle pops. This is far from game over. Maybe for Miniraser if he can't get his drone count up, but it's looking a little bit scary. We did get a donation, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah. Getting his drone count out is exactly what he's trying to do, as well as the third base. And certainly with link speed and this many links, you do have some control. But, I mean, has an okay economy. He did remember to place down some more production as well. and it's not like he's so far off from a potential counter.
Yeah, you read it 'cause I can't see it.
Well, I do not condone violence. I'd like Rifkin to strike for quality and bop zombie grab.
Thank you to Carl402 for the $5, and thank you especially for Carl402 for taking my side. Alright, after the game's over, I owe zombie grab one bop on the head, I guess. Killing the pylon, I guess things are a little bit stuck in here on account of the fact he's fully walked on the right side, so this is the only entrance through that natural.
Yeah.
ShoWTimE's got to know somewhere in the back of his mind, though, that, okay, this was a little bit scary, but there was a dedication through this. This was a lot of lings. There couldn't have been that many drones back at home. The problem is, by not counterattacking immediately with, I don't know, one oracle or something like that, he doesn't get to confirm that. There's no information for him, and it's a little bit worrisome. But he's starting to move out now, and 3 oracles, those can tear through a queen pretty quickly.
Yeah. And technically, I guess they could take on a spore crawler.
Yeah, it'd be very cost ineffective, but they would, for sure.
Yeah,
Kill that
actually.
one.
Yeah, they kill that one. So he gets in here, sees the Roachborn just building. Unfortunately, ShoWTimE, I think, has already decided that he's going to wait a little longer for an attack anyways, as the Twilight Council and Forge are down.
Did he cancel the Voider, or did it actually...
He finished.
There it is.
He did go up to, I think, 5 gateways, which is enough to definitely have a little bit of pressure attack, not quite an all-in amount, but again, I think he wants to have those upgrades with his units. So he's going to hold off, actually get charged, I did not expect. We certainly have been seeing charge kind of come back after being like, is it a forgotten upgrade? But he only has a depth, and that's why I'm surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I agree in that regard, but man, charge that Archon, I think, against a situation like this wouldn't be too bad. I mean, it's going to be Immortals, but it looks of it, he knows that roaches are a big priority. But the thing I really like about the charge upgrade now, for those who don't know, because I know a lot of you guys are coming back to Legacy or seeing it for the first time, this actually deals damage on impact now. The Zealot charge in the past was just like, okay, you move a little bit faster, that's cool. Now you get like that passive movement speed, you get the actual physical charge to jump into battle, and you'll deal about 8 damage on impact. It's like having an extra swing for the Zealots.
What would you think you'd be worse for StarCraft 2 specifically? Speed lots or charge lots? Like, would speed lots actually break the game? That is to say, if you don't know what that means, they are always faster. They don't have that charge, it only lasts a couple of seconds. Or is charge actually the better option for StarCraft 2? I don't know. Speedy Zealots overall sound really scary, but there's definitely less pylon harassment than there was in Heart of the Swarm. I don't know.
People are saying the sound sounds all strange, but I can't really check during the game.
Oh, Archon just gets busted down immediately. Really didn't have that time needed to have that full burst of gateway production. Because certainly the tech doesn't look so bad, it's just the numbers that are bad for ShoWTimE right now. And once again, Miniraser is dedicating to an attack only on 44 drones and without a 4th base. But might have just hit the perfect attack before the extra gateways are finished, before the army has gotten too big, before any Immortals are out too.
This Raptor count is massive. Crucible's just laying down that front line. Oh my god, if anything lands in this, it's going to die. But charge lots do fairly well against the Ravagers. The Archon dealing a good chunk of damage, of course, as well. And the Oracles were helping up and down to Juice. Constantly having to dodge back like this, also a little bit worrisome.
Immortal's actually not too helpful, but it is it's a unit that ShoWTimE desperately needs. Any units at all is something he desperately needs, because once again, it was that army count in general. And it looks like he has pushed this back.
Yeah, and I mean, as charge comes off cooldown, be able to chase down a couple of these Ravagers. That's going to be really nice. This attack for Miniraser, well, not the craziest form of an all-in we've ever seen. This is fairly dedicated. It needed to really hurt ShoWTimE, but it didn't. Now ShoWTimE's got an upgrade lead. He's got more Archons coming out next. Whereas Miniraser had caught him at a very just barely time. Now ShoWTimE's got a fairly decent army. It's not big. It's not big. The numbers of the army still favor Miniraser, but with more Archons coming in, it's always going to be better.
It's good tech. Charge and Archons. Pylons finished up too, so that's going to be a little bit more of a help, although Military Core, I guess, is low on juice. Does once again have a decent economy compared to Miniraser, who is becoming more and more all-in as he continues to attack. He was so close to breaking ShoWTimE before his production was ready, but now his gateways have finished up. Of course, his +1 finished up as well. That Archon, there it goes, does finally go down, but the Zealots are actually doing a very nice job. The Immortals are helping out just that little bit, even if they don't get the extra damage on any of these units. Still a very close fight, and I'm sure ShoWTimE is sweating, but he is the one where time will favor. Oh, and running into the Archon to kill it, just odds on that splash. Ravagers, of course, not so good when they're actually the only thing fighting. They need that protection.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of like when you see Hydras in any composition. Like as long as they've got something in front of them, they're fine. But once that depletes, once the roaches are gone, once the lings are gone, not so hot. This is past that point of just like doing brute force, and more to the point where I think Miniraser might be starting to sell himself out. Again, he hasn't been joining at all behind this, and 3 bases this low of a drone count is fine, but he's moving spores and spines to the red line. Oh
Yeah.
dear. Torstein95 with a 6-month resub.
Yay.
Shoutouts and hype.
The army supply, which has been usually 20 down about for ShoWTimE, is now completely even, so that's going to kind of show what the next fight should look like, especially with that +2 finishing up as well. And while the Corrosive Biles, if they land on the Zealots, and they do get some nice shots, that army is just too big, too overpowering. It's completely swamping that Minirasers.
And the Oracle is getting a little bit of damage into. Again, I'm pretty sure ShoWTimE is fully aware of just how well it's going for him. Miniraser is going to tap out. GG. Good luck with the rest of the qualifier. Good guy, Miniraser. ShoWTimE, ladies and gentlemen, will take the series 2-0 and move on to fight against Liquid Bunny next.